Hey y'all, so today we're going to look at the 1791 leather outside the waistband belt holster. This one happens to be for a full-size Government 1911. I've been carrying it with my Delta Elite. I safety checked it. It is in fact loaded, so I am in fact safe. But we're going to take a look at this holster today, and for anybody that's watched the channel, you're going to know that I've kind of used this holster a couple times, almost as like a tease. I've used it to kind of show what holsters should be and what they should look like, so you can probably imagine this is going to be a fairly positive review. There's one or two tiny little things that kind of bugged me, and it's really minor, and I'll talk about them later, but really fairly positive review. So we'll look at craftsmanship first. So craftsmanship on this holster is really good. And when I know I say good on most holsters, this is really good. They use a really good thick cut of leather, which is nice, right? So it's I know some of the holsters that are thinner leather, sometimes they break down a little bit easier and they're a little flimsy. This is a really solid like holster. How they mold them and everything, and how they reinforce the up here, they reinforce the mouth of the holster so it stays open no matter what. I really like. Stitching all along it is really good. They go along, they stitch the edges, they stitch, both sides here, reinforcing this. The reinforcement piece of leather they put here is stitched on real nice, right? And I've been wearing this for a couple months now, I guess. I did review the magazine holder, I think about a month ago, and I've still been carrying this since reviewing the magazine holder, so it's probably been about 2 months of carry, right? Maybe a little bit more, and I'm really happy with this. The nice thing is, and here's one of the tiny little minor things, the sweat guard, right? I really like how they have this high sweat guard, and this sweat guard is very stiff right now. I do wonder if maybe after, like a few years of carry, that might soften up a little bit and flop a little. But again, if proper care of a leather holster, that won't happen. But I know 90% of the people that carry leather holsters don't really care for them. I'll admit I've neglected a few holsters over the years. But I wonder with it being that shallow or that thin and that tall, if that might droop a little bit someday. But it's very stiff, very rigid, and I've never had a problem with it, and I definitely like it as a feature because of it completely shields the gun from you and your body and your sweat and all that funk. So other than that, the coloring, this is their signature brown, which I like that they do offer different colors. They offer black, brown, tan, flat black even, this signature brown, which is real nice, and they offer an antique color. I almost got the antique color, but honestly, it looked like, it's a cool look, but it kind of just looks like a really beat to hell, worn out pair of boots or shoes. And I'm like, you know what, if I carry this for enough years, it'll eventually look like that, I guess. So, might as well put the wear on honest, but it is a neat look. So craftsmanship on this is really good. One of the other things I like about this is it's flat backed. I've talked about that in the past. Flat backed holsters, at least for me, are very comfortable to carry because the holster is pulling, when you put your belt on this, it's pulling the holster to you, not your gun to you. And the gun kind of comes along for the ride. Whereas, when it's a non-flat backed holster, it's kind of pulling the gun into you, trying to create pressure points. This does not have it. It is flat backed, and that is something I'm really fond of. Alright, so let's see what it looks like on the belt. Alright, so here we are once again at crotch cam, and as you can see, concealment is really good. Again, for concealing a full-size 1911, this pretty much looks, it hides it very well. If I pull my shirt tight, right, what do we see? Not much. You kind of can see the grip of the gun a little bit. That's tucked in pretty tight, and you can kind of see a little bit of the gun up here, but you pull your shirt tight, and even tight, it's a pretty neutral print. It doesn't definitely scream gun. So as far as the concealment, I give the holster a perfect 10 for concealment. Like, of all the holsters I've tried for 1911s, it gets a perfect 10. So definitely that. Let's look at it on the belt. So one of the things I said, I like that sweat guard that comes all the way up on your body, right? Offers some protection. Rides really comfortably on the belt. That is one of the nice things about it, is because it's so sturdy. It supports the gun, and then when you put a decent belt on, the belt supports the holster, and there's not a lot of movement, not a lot of play. You know, it's a real good, solid setup. So I really like it on the belt. Let's go back up top. Alright, so here we are back up here for my final thoughts. Again, not really a whole lot negative about this holster. I'm really happy with the design. I'm really happy with what they're producing. I guess if anybody from 1791 is listening, I'd really appreciate it if you'd start making holsters for more guns, 329 PD. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot to say negative. I guess the only other thing besides, and again, I said I'd be curious to see if this started getting a little floppy after a few years of carry, and if the holster started breaking down. Probably not an issue, but just something I noticed. Since I do try and nitpick stuff. The only other thing besides that was, you'll see along here how there's a good bit of wear from the break-in, where it's kind of smoothed out the leather interior. When you start breaking in this holster, it is kind of an aggressive break-in because of it being so stiff, right? It's meant to hold its shape, so you're going to have to really take your time and break in the holster. But when you start breaking it in, you're going to notice some of that red dye and red leather is going to get along your gun. Here you'll see how mine still kind of has some red here. Now I purposely left this on to show this, but if I take see, it's all along the leading edges where it's kind of breaking in the holster. Once you take an oil-soaked rag, it comes right off. So it's again, that's not really an issue. It's just something I noticed that you will notice that if you do, and this is the signature brown. I don't know if it's going to happen with all the colors, but if you notice it, it's not that big a deal. Just, wipe down your gun, which you should be doing anyway. So that's my thoughts on the 1791 gun leather holster. Like I said, damn near a perfect score. Conceals really well. Really good construction. Interested to see what else they put out. Honestly, I do kind of put their quality above Galco and DeSantis. For years, Galco and DeSantis have been my go-to. I've been huge fans of their stuff. I own several of their holsters. And at this point, if you're looking for at least an outside the waistband belt holster, something like this, I gotta give it to them. If I had my choice, I'd visit their website before I visited Galco or DeSantis. And I'm not saying that they're bad companies, but I think the quality of 1791 is above them. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and have a good day.